Okay, this hangout is now live. This is a game of Star Trek Adventures called Star Trek Neutral Zone. This is episode 8, entitled Pheonix Reach. I'll start out with a quick recap of some of the previous plot threads we've been following. Previously, on Star Trek Neutral Zone, you uncovered an unsettling plot to attach an interphasic listening device to the hull of Starbase 23 that appeared to monitor starship traffic near the station. You discovered the device was placed there secretly by a Starfleet officer, a junior engineer named Matthew DeLeo, who was quietly transferred to another duty posting. Later, Lieutenant Chisurch received an anonymous transmission containing records for a massive surveillance program capable of monitoring virtually anyone within Federation territory and the immediately surrounding space. The code word required to decrypt the data in this transmission was the name Morgan Serensky, Lieutenant Chisurch's former mentor, who died in a suspicious shuttle accident 7 years ago in 2364. So to start, I would like you guys to quickly introduce your characters. We'll start with, looking at my screen, we'll start with Miguel.
Okay, I am playing Lieutenant Commander Dietrich Holm. I am the Chief Security Officer aboard Starbase 23. Basically, getting involved in this whole conspiracy thing, which is, well, dealing with evil admirals, isn't it? Isn't that like a regular trope in Star Trek, where the admiral is mostly evil?
It may or may not be.
I'm just thinking of like, what is it? Interaction with that admiral and some other TNG episodes. But yeah.
Oh yeah, TNG's replete with bad admirals.
Yeah.
How about Paul? Paul, would you care to introduce your character? Oh, maybe Paul's having some technical difficulties. Can't quite hear him. Let's jump to Yong. We'll come back to Paul.
So I play the Chief Medical Officer, Melvin Stanislov. Dr. Stanislov is a quirky character. He doesn't get along with children like Picard from the Next Generation. And actually, he secretly likes going on these adventures and getting himself involved in these perilous situations, but he never really lets that out to his cohorts.
And Paul, you able to introduce your character?
Can you hear me?
Yep, yeah, we can.
Excellent. Old software engineer trick. Turn it off and turn it back on again. I'm playing a young Andorian lieutenant, junior grade, Lieutenant Chisurch. He's I always think of him as like a blue Chekhov. He's kind of very bright, a little arrogant, very sort of up and coming, and it's starting to look as though things happening around Starbase 23 have got some links to his past.
Yes, indeed. And in fact, turning it off and turning it back on, that's an old Starfleet engineer trick as well, not just modern day software engineers.
Oh, works for Windows PCs and warp cores.
There we go. So Paul, you mentioned that, yeah, it looks like some things from your past are starting to have relevance to some strange happenings here on the station. In particular, as I mentioned during the recap, you received an anonymous burst transmission that contained some information about a secret surveillance project that seemed to be started by Starfleet. At the time when you received the transmission, you copied it, but you also kind of sequestered it away on your computer in an attempt to keep anyone else from accessing it or hacking into it, things like that. What have you done with this data since then? It's probably been a few weeks.
Pretty much nothing at the moment. I'm kind of unsure what to do, and we've been a little bit busy. We did, I believe, take the data to the Admiral, but we've not heard anything back from her since then. but I've been making sure that I keep a copy of the data just in case, and keep it somewhere offline on an isolinear chip somewhere.
Yep. And perhaps go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go on.
So perhaps one of the reasons you have kind of gotten nothing but an uncomfortable silence from the fleet admiral of the station, Bail Chithanis, is because her name turns up in this data. It looks like as you've gone through this data, you've sort of pieced together a timeline of this secret project. It looks like about 7 years ago, in the wake of the infiltration that was carried out by those parasitic creatures that we saw in the episode Conspiracy. So that was about 7 years ago from the timeline of our game. Starfleet figured that it needed to do something to stop such an infiltration in the future. And so the Federation Council formed a task force to come up with a plan to take some kind of technological countermeasures against these sorts of infiltrations. Captain Chithanis and her former chief engineer, Morgan Serensky. Is it Morgan Serensky or Kerensky? Paul?
Off the top of my head, I can't remember. That's
okay.
bad, isn't it?
Well, I've got it with an S in my notes, so we'll go with that for now.
That sounds
so
about right.
At the time, Captain Chithanis and her former chief of engineering, Morgan Serensky, of the Starfleet Corps of Engineers, wrote an artificial intelligence program that was capable of sifting through vast amounts of surveillance data and identifying threats in real time. This project was referred to by the codename Pheonix Reach. The program drew on mountains of data collected by a series of Starfleet subspace radio telescope arrays, and also a new technology, these interphasic monitoring devices that sort of exist outside of the phase of your time and space, but can still collect data in regular time and space, which made it almost untraceable until you guys found one of these such devices, which happened to be malfunctioning a few months ago on Starbase 23. So that's what you've been able to piece together from that data. Is there anything, do you have any questions or concerns about that? And any of the three of you can ask if you like.
Well then, does Paul's character actually, Galev, does he let us know about this?
Oh yeah, I'll make sure you guys are kind of in on it. And at the moment, my biggest concern is the captain of engineering that used to be my mentor, Morgan Serensky. He died in a shuttle accident a few years ago, just before I came to Starbase 23. But it's something that's kind of haunted me ever since, because that shuttle accident should not have happened. Yeah, the shuttle accident shouldn't have happened in the first place, and it should have been possible using emergency transporters to rescue the crew and passengers, but it didn't happen, and everybody on board was killed.
Strange, and yet he was able to send you a message?
Well, that's hard to say. I mean, we don't know where this message came from. We just know that his name was the key to decoding it. It could have come from almost anyone.
If you're interested in trying to trace that message, it was sent anonymously, but you could certainly try to trace it if you wanted to. Although it would be difficult.
What do you think, guys? That could be risky.
Risk is our business.
I think it'll be definitely worth it.
Okay, I will see what I can do.
Okay, so this will be a difficulty 4 task, and it will be reason plus either con or engineering. You can pick. And if the station can certainly assist if you like. However, that might come with risks of being discovered.
I will not use the station's computers.
Okay. And as usual, I will start the session with 2 points of threat for each of you. So I start out with 6, and you guys generate momentum as you go.
So we're looking at difficulty 4. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And what were the attributes again? Engineering and?
You can either use reason plus con or engineering.
I will go for engineering, being an engineer. So that's 15. I will use my cautious, and I've got to remind myself exactly what that means. Okay. I can only do it if I'm buying an extra dice with momentum. So since we don't have any momentum, mind you, I could just add to threat. That would be appropriate.
Yeah, just add to threat. Don't worry.
What the hell?
Yeah,
okay.
What the hell? This is going to be.
I will buy a momentum.
It's cloak and daggers today.
This is supposed to be dangerous, isn't it?
Yeah. So, are you in a computer lab, in a science lab, in your quarters? Where is this taking place?
Have we got any ships docked at the moment?
Yes, the USS Hyperion, which you guys had some experience with in the previous episode, is basically, there's nothing but like sort of a skeleton engineering crew aboard right now. As you remember, the captain actually died in a strange warp bubble accident that you guys were able to rescue several members of the engineering team overseeing the refit, but the captain actually died. And since then, they've been waiting for a new commanding officer, and all of the crew of the USS Hyperion have been staying over on the Starbase.
That's right. And I think, where are we? My old buddy Storak owes me a favor, doesn't he?
Yeah, you saved his life.
Yeah. Okay. I'll ask him if I can use the computers on board the Hyperion.
He raises a Vulcan eyebrow in suspicion and says,
I want to run a high-level diagnostic. But it's experimental, so I don't want anybody to know about it just yet.
Yeah, give me a presence plus command task, and I will roll against Storix.
You're no fun. One success.
Well, Storix didn't roll very well. Okay. So
what do you mean? That's fun.
Storix says, of course, Lieutenant Chisearch, I would be happy to accompany you and assist you on anything that I can.
Oh, there's no need. I just need access to the computers for a short time, and then I'll be done. I'll let you know the results of the test afterwards, though.
See that you do, Lieutenant.
I will. Okay, so I'll use the computers on the Hyperion then, at least as a way of trying to obfuscate the trail a little bit.
Yeah, and as you're walking away, Storix says, Lieutenant, I know that you were working on an artificial intelligence program to monitor traffic control around the Starbase. I would be happy to assist you in that as well later.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love the help.
Shall we meet in your science lab?
Yeah, let's do that. How about how about we get together later this evening, and I'll kind of walk you through the early stages of the progress.
Very good.
Excellent. Okay, so back to the task at hand. So with the momentum, I'm gonna buy.
Are all three of you accompanying, or all the other two of you accompanying Lieutenant Chisearch?
It depends. Does the church want us with them?
If you want to come along, yeah. Co-conspirators are always useful.
Sure.
I will throw you under the bus, though.
Yeah, so all three of you go through the airlock onto the USS Hyperion, and it's not difficult to find a computer monitor somewhere that's in kind of a darkened room. Doesn't seem to be a lot of traffic in the corridors or anything. Most of the activity would be centered in engineering and on the bridge.
Okay. So I'm going to go with, what was it, reason and engineering. I will, in this case, get the ship's computers to help me out.
Yeah, you bet.
And I will also use the momentum I bought to approach the task cautiously.
Makes sense to me. Let's see. The Hyperion can give you, let's say this is computers plus engineering. So the target is going to be an 11 for the ship. Does anyone want to roll for the ship, for the Hyperion?
Sure. What do I have to beat?
Your target number is an 11, and you'll roll 1d20 as assistance.
7.
Okay, so there's one of your 4 successes.
Okay. I'm rolling 3 dice for the others, and I got 10, 12, and 14, which are all successes.
Excellent. So you are able to quietly use the Hyperion's computer to search through the burst transmission records that you collected from this data packet that contained the information on Operation Pheonix Reach. And you are rather surprised to figure out that the original transmission didn't go very far. In fact, it came from somewhere on Starbase 23. The command codes sent that were used to send the message belonged to Commander Jeffrey Stiles. I don't know if you guys remember Commander Stiles, but he was originally one of our player characters, but the player ended up dropping out of the campaign, so we haven't seen him for several sessions.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yes, especially because he was affected by those parasite things. On his background.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Okay. That raises a few questions then. What do you think we can do with that?
Well, I would say we just track him down and talk to him.
Yes, we haven't actually talked with the commander for a long while, have we?
That's true. I think before we do, though, I'm going to spend a little time. I want to come up with probably a tricorder program that can be used to jam sensors within a short range. So if we talk to Stiles, I want to make sure that there's nobody listening in on us.
You want to create a white noise generator.
Well, how about
Effectively, yes.
I call him in for a routine physical exam. That may create an opportunity for us to talk to him.
Yep, it's certainly a good excuse.
All right. Well, I'll schedule one right away.
It's just that when we're dealing with a surveillance program like this, it's highly likely that people are going to be listening in or trying to follow us. I just want to make sure that we're taking all precautions.
Well, the medical records have their own security code. So it is against the Federation policy to snoop in medical-related issues.
It's also against Federation policy for mass surveillance, but it's happening.
True.
Yes, we're dealing with a group of people that are not following by the book, so we need to be extra cautious here.
Or at the very least, it's a different book.
Yes.
I'd just like to take the extra precaution. So I'll spend maybe a few hours just trying to put together this tricorder program.
Yeah, so I would say that's sort of a create advantage task, and those would be you either need 2 points of momentum, which you don't have, or it's a difficulty 2 task to come up with some sort of tricorder jamming device that will be very localized, just maybe within a couple of meters of your tricorder, sort of a circular radius around your tricorder. But that would at least stop any kind of electronic surveillance that you know of that could be listening in.
That works for me. I'll roll for it.
Okay. What kind of task do you think makes sense for that, Paul?
I'm thinking reason and engineering again.
Okay, sure.
2 and a 19, but that's still 2 successes.
Okay, excellent. So you are able to come up with some kind of program on your tricorder that will jam listening devices, at least in a highly localized area.
You know what it is? It's a cone of silence. I'm sorry, you guys are just not old enough to remember Get Smart, are you?
I used to watch that Nick at Night when I was a little kid.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you, Fred.
You're welcome.
Anyway, on with the adventure, please.
Yeah. What's next, guys?
Well, I guess the doctor will ask Commander Stiles to come in for a checkup, and the rest of us will make sure we're there at the same time as well.
Yeah, Dr. Stanislav, how do you contact Commander Stiles?
I'm just gonna send him a little message on his computer console saying it's your time for your checkup, regular scheduled checkup.
You get no response.
Ah, that's odd. And then I try to page him.
Yeah, so you tap your comm badge and call out for Commander Stiles, and once again, you get a couple of beeps of feedback indicating that no one is picking up on the other end.
Computer, tell me the location of Commander Stiles.
Cannot confirm the presence of Commander Stiles on Starbase 23.
That is very strange. Give me the last known location of Commander Stiles.
Commander Stiles was in his quarters.
Okay. When was that?
Last known presence was on Stardate. It lists off a bunch of numbers, but it appears to have been about a day and a half.
Is there a record that he has exited his quarters?
Unknown.
That's strange. All right. And then he logs off the computer and pages his fellows. And he says, it seems like we have a little problem here.
Yes?
Could you come to the med bay?
Sure. And I head toward the med bay.
I presume I'll do the same. And I'll bring my tricorder.
Yep. So as they enter, the doctor explains, well, it seems like Commander Stiles is not on board. The computer doesn't know where he is and where he's about. According to it, the last known location is his quarters, and it's been about a day and a half since we have that record. I'm concerned. I think we've encountered some more skullduggery here.
And the computer's got no idea how he managed to leave the station.
No, I didn't get anything.
That's unusual.
I suggest we go check out his quarters. He is supposed to be on duty, so if he hasn't reported on duty, I'm gonna go and check.
Why don't you go and check his quarters? I'll go up to operations and ask somebody up there, see if he's checked in at all.
Okay.
I'm gonna get some security officers with me. So yeah.
In the meanwhile, I'll just remain here.
Yeah. Stay safe.
Okay, so Lieutenant Search, you said you go up to ops and ask around. Who do you see up there? Probably like an ensign, a junior officer that probably spends a lot of time pressing buttons at ops.
I'll try and be casual about it. I'll just pick somebody I know up in operations and I don't know, just sort of get chatting with them and just casually mention, ask them if they've seen Commander Stiles recently. He was supposed to be up here on duty at the moment, so I've got a question for him, but I can't seem to find him.
Yeah, you find an Ensign Wrecker, human female who's been working on the lateral sensor array doing some maintenance, and she says, well, I haven't seen Commander Stiles in a couple of duty shifts, but he's been off lately. Everyone at ops has been talking about it. He's been short-tempered and distracted.
And has anybody wondered why? Has anybody tried to find out what's going on? I'm just curious.
Well, we've all been wondering, but frankly, it's not really my place to ask, sir.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, but he says he's been off for the last couple of duty shifts, so that's probably at least a couple of days, isn't it? Okay, thanks. So I'll leave operations and I'll let these guys know that he's not reported for duty for the last couple of days.
Okay. So we cut to a corridor in the habitat section of the Starbase, and Lieutenant Commander Holm, you are outside of the door to Stiles' quarters with a couple of security officers. What do you do?
I'm basically going to use my position as a lieutenant commander to have the computer override the door because there is no response at all, so we can go check inside, see what happened.
Yeah, you successfully use the override, and the doors part. They swish open, and it's dim in there.
Computer, turn on the lights.
The lights, you hear a beeping sound, and the lights come up, and you see sprawled in the middle of this room, Starfleet command red uniform sprawled out on the floor with what looks to be like whitish crystals sprinkled around it and coming out of the collar and the sleeves of the uniform.
I am going to get in contact with him. Actually, I'm going to hit the comm badge. I need you down here, Dr. Stanislov.
On my way.
Yes, so Dr. Stanislov, you're able to arrive a couple of minutes later, and you come in on this scene that I just described, a Starfleet uniform sprawled out on the floor with what looked to be like this powdery, crystalline substance sprinkled around it and coming out of it.
He brings his tricorder and starts scanning it, trying to determine what it is exactly.
Yeah, go ahead and give me a difficulty 2 reason plus medicine task, please.
So target is 15. I got 9 and 11, 2 successes.
Okay, there you go. So it looks like the cellular peptides. It looks like this is just a kind of a pile of chemicals that probably would be about the normal content of a human body, but it looks like the cellular peptides have been eaten away and it just sort of disintegrated into its components.
Well, Lieutenant Holm, I can tell you that this is not normal.
You're going to tell me this is the commander, is it?
Yes, it is. I'm afraid so. I can do some more scan and determine that with greater certainty, but it seems like something has done this to him.
Yes.
Let me do some more research. I'll get back to you.
I am going to get this room quarantined. We are going to have to make a report of the fact is that our commander is now gone, but I need to also, since he is gone, will the computer say to me that now I am the acting commander? I can then take his logs, peruse, and see what he was looking at.
Yeah, absolutely. You would be the next in the chain of command, so you would then have the command codes transferred to you. You are now you receive like a temporary grade promotion to commander, and you are kind of the commander of day-to-day operations of the station now.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to basically try to look through these logs and check out what happened here. I'm going to have the love assist because, yeah, something spook Stiles. I'm going to tell to the 2 of them. And they wanted to make sure he is not going to be able to speak. So, Stanislav, can you just check out the whole room, check to see how they did this? Because this room should have been secured.
I'm on it, Commander Holm. And he's trying to determine exactly what turned him into this crystalline substance. And also to positively identify that this is indeed his dear old comrade.
Yeah, so you think from your initial tricorder scan, you feel pretty confident that these are indeed the remains of Commander Stiles. How would you go about determining what did this to him?
He's gonna try to cross-reference the typical effects of different radiation on human body, and also any effects that would crystallize human tissues into this sort of substance.
Sure. Okay. So give me a difficulty 1. You'd be kind of consulting Starfleet medical database. This will just be a difficulty 1 reason plus medicine task.
He's got a critical success. 1.
Okay. Awesome. So that's 2 successes. So you guys get a point of momentum. So here's what you discover: that this looks an awful lot like, there are certain interphasic parasites that Starfleet crews have encountered over the years that attach themselves to a humanoid host and basically just harvest their cellular peptides until eventually they turn into basically a pile of chemicals. You think that's what happened here. If you want to spend the point of momentum you just generated for additional information, you can, or you can bank it for later.
Actually, he will. And wow, another critical success.
Okay, well, you didn't need to. You just spent the momentum, so you can make it happen.
Okay, sorry.
That just happens.
Just let him.
But
let him do this. He's like, wow, another critical success.
Yeah.
so okay, I'll give you a bonus because you rolled so well, Yong. Dr. Stanislov, as he is searching the room, he actually discovers, he determines that he's going to do an interphasic scan, and he determines that there is indeed the carcass of an interphasic parasite similar to what you found in Starbase medical database. So you're pretty sure that you found what killed this guy. You think that there would be no source for these creatures to naturally occur on the Starbase, so you suspect that it was brought here or planted here by some sort of external force.
He relays the information.
So is it possible that because this surveillance program is using interphasic devices that we've somehow attracted the attention of these parasites?
Well,
could that be why they're here, or could it be intentional?
Well, Lieutenant Research, it seems like it's definitely intentional. The program that we're seeing may not be just spying system. I'm speculating over here, but it may be used to assassinate people that whoever is spying on us is doing.
Or they assassinated because he knew too much.
Well, I mean, that part is my speculation. I should clearly distinguish the facts that we have and my speculation. But yeah, it's definitely not something that would occur naturally. Why would this interphasic parasite be here and feeding upon our commander?
It does seem awfully specific that it was the commander, the same person that actually sent me that transmission.
Absolutely.
And probably not long after it was sent as well. Okay, we've really got to start watching our backs here. I'm not 100% sure what the next step is, though.
Well, how do we know that we're not being spied upon right now?
Always assume you're being spied upon. One thing we need to do is we now have his logs. I need to start perusing them. You're going to help me with this, Belov, so that we can see if he was able to make some sort of find out if he made a note about what he found.
The note's been here for a day and a half so far. If whoever implanted this parasite are halfway intelligent, then they would have taken their time to scrub whatever the information that the commander would have logged onto his record.
Well, I'm thinking the commander was even more closely involved with this Pheonix Reach program than we originally suspected. I mean, he seems to have had access to an awful lot of data about it.
Or he stumbled upon it, because you have to remember, our commander was paranoid, especially after the parasite incident.
That's true.
If there's anything, there is probably a dead man switch he set up in case he was eliminated. You just have to figure out where he left it.
I'm just thinking right now, there's nobody that we know of we can trust on the Starbase, aside from the three of us. And to be honest, I'm not sure I even trust you two.
Come on, you can always trust me with the smile.
Yeah.
Well, it seems clear that there isn't much that we can do over here. I could continue to scan the room and try and find out exactly how the parasite was brought over here and by whom. We could do more research on that. But we could also look into the information that the commander sent you. Our only clue is Morgan Serensky.
I'm going to try a long shot. I'm going to put together a transmission. I'm going to encode a message in it, and I'm going to send it to my father. I want to find out from him if there's anybody that he trusts. I'm not going to give him all the details. I'm just going to give him enough that I'll just ask him. I need to find somebody, preferably on the Starbase, that I can trust. There's not much more I can tell him without involving him too much. But he's ex-Starfleet as well, so he might know somebody. But I'll encode the message in such a way that he would notice that the message is there and be able to decode it, but nobody else would. Maybe put a few sort of surreptitious code words in the message, in plain sight, but code words that only he would recognize.
Yeah, are you trying to kind of bring him up on subspace and actually have a face-to-face conversation with him, or are you just sending him a transmission?
No, I'll record a transmission and send it to him, but I'll make sure that encoded in the transmission is the real message that I want to send.
At this point, Melvin's going to do some calculations. He's going to try and figure out how long it's going to take for the parasite to get a person to this state, and trying to determine the time that Commander was actually infected.
Yeah, you bet. Give me, because these are interphasic and sort of foreign creatures, this will be a difficulty 3 task. And once again, it'll be reason plus medicine. And if you conduct these tests in the med lab, then you can have the station assist you.
Okay. All right. I rolled, and I had 1 failure and 1 success. And the med bay, critical failure, 20.
Okay, so because these, it's really hard to say. There's very little known about these creatures, so it's difficult to say how long this thing was attached to Commander Styles. What you can say is that unless someone was doing a specific interphasic sensor sweep of him, he could have had that thing on him for a long, long time, and no one would have ever noticed.
Yeah. Well, it seems like we really don't know when he was infected. It could have been years. It could have been months.
Well, more to the point, do you have a means of detecting any of those organisms if they might be attached to us?
Well, we could do a subspace interphasic sensor sweep on ourselves and find out if there's any of these creatures that are attached to us. So he's going to use his focus on xenobiology.
Yep.
And try and configure the tricorder. for interphasic monitoring.
Yep. So this kind of stuff would be in the Starfleet medical database because these things have been encountered before by other starships. So this will just be a difficulty 1 reason plus medicine task. Yong?
Okay. Yeah, 1 success.
Okay. So you take a scanning device that sort of shines kind of a phosphorescent light on whatever you're scanning, and you run it over your body and over Lieutenant Chassearch and over Lieutenant Commander Holm, and you find nothing. You feel pretty confident that you guys have not been infected, at least yet, by these interphasic parasites.
So far, so good, guys.
Yeah, that was a Gamemaster, at least yet.
Did I say that?
Perhaps.
Okay, so does anybody else got any ideas as to what we might be able to do to bring this to someone's attention? I can try going through my father, find somebody higher up the command chain that we can trust, but right now you're basically the second in command of the Starbase, so it doesn't go a lot higher.
Exactly. I'm going to be looking over his logs, seeing everything right now. Perhaps.
Yeah. So that's going to.
Yeah, it's going to take a time.
That's going to. Yep. That's going to take you several hours to do. Yong, you actually rolled a 20 on your last task, correct? Or the one before you did the scan.
Right.
Okay, so that creates a complication. There appears to be some kind of subspace interference surrounding the station right now, and so. Lieutenant Chassearch, you actually get the message, the subspace message that you sent your father, reflected back to you. You don't think that he received it.
Okay, that's unusual. I'll start doing some scans of the area just to see if I can identify what the problem is.
Yeah, go ahead and give me. It'll be a reason plus con task. And it will be difficulty 3. Can't hear you, Paul. I think you're muted.
Sorry. Okay, reason plus con.
Yes, sir.
Difficulty 3. Have we still got 1 momentum?
Nope, Yong spent that for an additional information spend.
That's what I thought. Okay. Okay. We'll just have to go for it then. And just the 1 success.
Okay, so you set up a sensor scan of the space immediately surrounding the starbase. You're using the lateral sensors. Ordinarily, subspace interference is a well-known phenomenon to Starfleet engineers. You wouldn't expect this to be so difficult, but you are, for the life of you, cannot figure out the source of this interference, which is curious in and of itself.
Okay.
Is everything okay?
Not quite. We seem to have a lot of subspace interference at the moment.
Interference?
I'm going to check. I'm going to check with operations again and see if they're working on the problem. Yeah, so Ensign Wrecker responds to your contact, and she says, yeah, we've noticed this too. We're unable to lock down a source. We're as confused as you are, Lieutenant. Okay, well, thank you. When you do manage to figure the problem out, can you please let me know? I'm trying to get a transmission through to my family. Yep, we're under orders to monitor the situation closely. I'll let you know if anything changes. And if you need some help, please let me know. We'll keep you in mind.
Lieutenant Holm. Lieutenant Holm, Lieutenant Chassearch.
Yes?
I think somebody is jamming us. It can't be a coincidence.
It doesn't seem very coincidental at all, does it?
No, not at all. Somebody's onto us, and they're blocking any transmission from reaching any other places. And I'd assume that whatever the source of this jamming may be in different phase, just like before. So maybe you could try to sweep the interface and try and pinpoint the origin of this jamming signal.
I can try, I guess, if it is a jamming signal. I didn't have much luck before trying to figure out where it's coming from, but I can continue trying. Presumably, Commander, there's a report being made now about the commander's death.
Yes, there it has been.
And have we had any feedback from the Admiral? I mean, her second in command just died.
The person in charge of running Starbase 23, yeah, is dead. The question is I've yet to hear back from the Admiral.
Have you, do you want to contact Admiral Chithanis and speak with her personally?
Me? I just left, basically I just did a general notice of all that, so if anything, she could have contacted me or not, so I'm just assuming she's just quiet at the moment.
Where are you guys right now?
I would say we're probably talking in sickbay.
Okay, so the doors swish open and Admiral Chithanis strides through, and she has a concerned look on her face. She's an Andorian woman. Her antennae are sort of pointed straight ahead in sort of a tense posture, and she strides right up to you and she says, Lieutenant Commander Holm, please report on what you've learned about the commander's death.
What we found out is that this was some sort of, what was it, Chief Medical Officer, a subspace parasite?
It's an interphasic parasite, sir.
Okay. Apparently, it basically broke down peptide chains in his body. We were unable to determine when this thing occurred, but apparently there was changes in his behavior as of late.
She turns to Dr. Stanislov and asks, Doctor, do you have any reason to believe that anyone else might be infected by these parasites?
Well, we ran the interphasic scan on ourselves, and we seem to be okay here. I recommend that we try to run this all across the board.
Yes, I agree. I think you should run an interphasic sensor sweep of the Starbase. Let me know if you find anything out of the ordinary. I will have to make a report to Starfleet. And she looks very preoccupied, very concerned. But she asks, is there anything else you feel I should know?
That's all we found out, ma'am.
Please give me regular updates. Keep me up to date on your progress. I'll be in my office above ops.
Understood.
And she turns and leaves the room.
Yes. So.
Yep. So he turns on the scan, basically, and goes onto the computer. Computer, let's begin the interphasic scan of the entire hall.
Yeah, I'm going to say ordinarily this kind of internal sensor sweep would just be difficulty 1 because we're talking about interphasic here. It's going to be difficulty 2, and this will be give me you give me reason plus medicine or reason plus science or reason plus engineering.
I'll actually spend the threat this time.
Okay.
I'll do reason plus. You said medicine?
Yep, if you like.
Okay. Yep, reason plus medicine. I got 3, 18, and 3.
Okay, so that's 2 successes. That's what you needed. You are able to run an interphasic internal scan of the Starbase, and you find no other anomalous readings that would lead you to believe that there's any sort of interface going on within the station.
Well, Commander, Lieutenant, it seems like the entire Starbase is clear.
Which makes the commander's death even more suspicious.
Absolutely. Should we report this to the Admiral?
1 second. Pardon me, Stanislov. Hello. What was the Pheonix Rising project?
I think we're going to have to confront the Admiral. According to this data we've got, she was involved in this project.
Mm-hmm.
So
I would not say directly confrontational, but
I think we're going to have to.
what do you know about it?
Well, we know that she knows about it. Her name's in this data. She was one of the people that started the project.
Yes.
But it's beginning to look to me as though in some way the project is getting out of hand.
Yes.
Yeah.
More importantly, I need to figure out what the previous Commander Styles knew about it, aside from giving you that information.
Well, presumably he knew everything that was in that that information. He knew everything that we now know about the project. But what I'm getting at is somebody killed Commander Styles, and they did it in a fashion that, frankly, is kind of scary. It means they were somehow able to induce an interphasic parasite to actually, I don't know, nest on him for long enough to kill him. That concerns me. Now, I'm thinking at the moment we can tiptoe around all we like, but at some point,
Yes, well,
we're going
we
to
do have to confront the Admiral, but we're in the middle of admirals basically posturing with each other. And I know we can't trust the Admiral, and I do not want to tip our hands right now.
Well, I'm looking at two things here. Either she's not involved with any sort of skullduggery that's going on around this project. You know, it may well be it's a perfectly valid project. The data we've got says that the Federation Council approved it. So either she's not involved with any of the nefarious side of the project, in which case she needs to know, or she is involved in that side of the project, in which case we need to know. We need to know whether the Admiral is in on this or not, or whether the Admiral has anything to do with the death of Commander Styles.
Yes.
She's the ideal person to take it to if she's not involved. If
Yes.
she's involved, we'll know about it soon enough because somebody will try and kill us.
Indeed. I think I need to return to Styles's room that's been quarantined. I'm going to go check it out.
Okay. Well, consider it as a course of action.
Yes, and once I'm done, I'll let you guys know what we need to do. Okay?
Well, I'm not going to make a move on the Admiral without you guys approving it. We're in this together.
Indeed. We are in this together. Dismiss.
So, Lieutenant Commander Holm, you are going to Commander Styles' quarters again.
Yep. I am going to be thinking in terms of espionage. Something like, I know it's not going to be as simple as basically there's going to be something hidden behind a painting. Perhaps something else that he probably put aside and hid. Maybe something in plain sight.
Let me think about that for a moment.
Because he's paranoid. How would a paranoid person do this?
Yeah, so there is, above his desk, there's a computer terminal that is set with a schematic of the Starbase. And this would be pretty normal for the commander of the Starbase to have that kind of schematic available at his fingertips all the time. Why don't you give me a... Let me think about it. An insight plus security task. The difficulty of 2.
Okay, does espionage work?
Yes.
Okay, Do we have momentum?
You do not.
I'll spend a threat. So I get 3 dice.
Okay.
I'm going to roll. I have a 9, an 8, and a 16. 2 successes.
2 successes. That's what you needed. So you are going through his room, and you do kind of a double take. At first, you don't notice it when you look at the schematic of the Starbase behind his desk. But you do a double take, and you notice that it looks like there's been some sort of modification made to the schematic that would contradict what you know about the construction of the station.
Uh-huh.
The number of decks.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to let the church know and have him go over the schematic here.
Okay, I'll head down and help him out.
Yeah, so as you take a closer look at the schematic, Lieutenant Chasseur, you don't notice it at first either. It would take kind of an eagle eye to really look closely. But it looks like Commander Stiles entered data into the schematic to modify it that changes your understanding of the construction of the top several decks of the station. And as you look closer, it looks like he sort of keyed in kind of a half a deck between deck 6 and deck 7.
Half a deck between deck 6 and deck 7. So this appears on the schematic, but it's not part of the station.
It appears on the schematic. It's not part of the official construction of the Starbase. You don't recognize it. It's sort of between, the top several decks are for the Admiral's office and an ops in the command section of the station, and then directly below that, the station kind of balloons out in a big mushroom shape, and that's where the star dock is, and the upper concourse and the promenade and everything like that. This is like a half a deck that's been sort of inserted in between the command module and the space dock section.
Can I tell from the schematic if there's any sort of way of getting access to this half deck?
It looks like Commander Stiles, as you sort of tap in some commands, it looks like Commander Stiles might have encrypted this data, and you'll have to attempt a task to decrypt it if you like.
Mr. Security Officer, you're probably better at this thing than I am.
We'll see. Going to take some time, more importantly. This is off the cuff.
Well, so, I can try and assist.
Yep. So let's get that going.
So I will say this is, I'll give you either, I'll tell you what, it's daring or reason plus security. And it'll be a difficulty, it's going to be a difficulty 2 task, and you can assist with Paul, you can assist using your daring plus engineering.
Okay. So this is going to be daring in security. Espionage applies.
You bet.
Cool.
So I get 1 success.
Okay, cool. So I just have to roll 2. We'll see.
You just need to roll 1. Difficulty 2.
No, I meant 2 dice instead of having by 3.
Yeah. Okay.
I got a success, but there's a 20. What's the complication here? As let's see, Stiles finds out that it basically requires a higher rank to enter, right?
No, so the complication is you discover that Stiles had done some exploring on this sort of hidden deck, and it looks like he discovered there is an access hatch in one of the Jeffries tubes, but he notes that it is locked, and he was never able to determine what was on the other side of it.
We have a lead to get in. Interesting, but it's locked.
And it certainly doesn't match anything that you guys have seen on official Starbase schematics.
I'm thinking we've got to start taking some chances here.
Indeed.
The
We need to
doctor
get
pages you. The doctor pages you from the med lab. Find out anything, guys?
Yeah, we found out something. I need you guys to meet me at this area. We're going to be meeting up in about half an hour. I think we got a lead here, and I think we're going to need your medical expertise.
All right. I'm currently working on a vaccine or some sort of preventive measure to immunize us from the interphasic parasites. I'm trying to come up with something here.
Yeah, that'll be, if you want to do that, you can create an advantage like Paul did. It'll be a difficulty 2, reason plus medicine task if you want to come up with an inoculation against these parasites.
Okay. And 1 success.
Yeah, once again, these things are so foreign because they come from a totally different phase that is just really difficult for you on this sort of truncated time schedule to come up with something to inoculate yourself against these really strange creatures.
Okay.
Are you sleeping on the floor?
Right. Doctor joins the rest of the guys.
What's the plan, gentlemen?
I think we're just heading up to this area and seeing if we can break in somehow.
Could we use the transporter like we did last time?
Subspace interference. Last thing I want to do is use a transporter when we have that all around the starbase.
Right.
Yeah, and the chances are the commander would have thought of that anyway, and he couldn't get inside. I think we need to do a manual inspection. And I hate to say it, but I think we need to be armed.
Yes, yes. There is one person that was with us that I can trust from security. She is a Vulcan.
Oh yeah, Tirana.
Rana, yeah. I'm like, okay, I can trust her. We can have her come with us.
Are you sure? Vulcan logic can work both ways sometimes.
Yes, it can. More importantly, Vulcans are very by the book, and something along the lines of something constructed outside of standard schematics and hidden from us is going to require investigation.
Yeah, Vulcans are very by the book. The question is, whose book?
Starfleet's.
Okay. I mean, we know that Federation Council and Starfleet were behind this monitoring program. So if you feel you can trust her, then let's go.
Yes.
So you approach Tirana, and she, obviously she's a junior officer. She will follow your orders, but she asks, what's going on? What is the purpose of carrying phasers into a Jeffries tube?
This Jeffries tube is actually locked. More importantly, junior officer. This is related to the death of Styles. He apparently was investigating something. We have something that is outside of the schematics of the Starbase that requires us to investigate further.
Fascinating. Do you anticipate danger?
If it's not on official records, and let's say commanding officers of my rank and above are unable to or have no knowledge of it, there should be chances of danger, correct?
I have a
There is
phaser here that says yes.
Yes.
There is a certain logic to that.
Yes.
Then I will, of course,
we are
follow
going to
orders.
the unknown.
Okay, yeah, she joins the party.
Yep. There. Don't worry, Stanislav is still going to be like the best shot.
Red shirt, red shirt.
Wait, security's red shirts in this timeline?
I feel safer already.
Or is it yellow shirts for security?
Security
yellow.
was gold.
Gold, yeah, it's gold in TNG era plus, but I thought it was red shirts. So I guess we get to the Jeffries tube entrance.
Yep. So you guys spend several minutes, well, probably maybe even closer to a half hour, kind of crawling through the bowels of the Jeffries tubes in the command module of Starbase 23. Eventually, you're able to get to the location that Stiles had noted on the schematic. And you do indeed notice that in the bottom, on the kind of the floor of the Jeffries tube that you're crawling through, there is a hatch that is sealed tight.
I'll scan it with my tricorder to see if I can figure out how it's sealed.
Yep. Give me a difficulty 1, reason plus engineering task, please, Paul.
2 successes.
Okay. So you generate a point of momentum.
Cool.
And you think that there is some kind of locking mechanism that is keeping it shut. You feel you could probably attempt to override the lock, but you also suspect that there's probably some kind of sensor device involved where if you don't override the sensor as well, you're probably going to alert whoever's on the other side of this door that you've forced the lock.
So good news and bad news, guys. I think I know a way in, but the chances are whoever's in there is going to know that we've come through. I can try and disable the alarm sensor before I open the hatch, but
I would suggest just creating a feedback loop. If we can find the wires that are for the sensors, get that into a certain hooked up to a tricorder so that it would appear to be everything as normal, and we can do whatever we want with the lock.
do you want to give that a try and I'll assist?
Sure.
I'll stand by with the phasers, guys.
Tirana draws hers as well. And yes, so this will be a difficulty 3 task. Lieutenant Commander Holm, you can be the primary actor here, and Paul, you can assist. If you succeed, you will be able to open the door without setting off the alarm. If you fail, it'll be a success at cost. The door will open, but you have no guarantee that you were able to disarm the alarm.
Okay, I will assist from an engineering point of view then. So I will use reasoning and engineering, helping figure out the circuit pathways for the alarm.
Okay, go ahead and roll your d20.
So that is 2 successes.
You got a critical?
I got a 4, which is underneath my discipline.
Cool. All right.
Yes, it's on your focus.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. Is
So
this
Miguel,
going to be
one more success.
Yes. What am I rolling here?
It'll be, I'm going to say daring plus security.
Okay, so I have to roll under a 16. Espionage counts or not?
Yeah, I would say this is an espionage type situation. Absolutely.
Okay, cool. So, yeah. And we are going to see. 15 and 5. 3 successes. Because I have a security of 5.
Okay, so you needed 3 and you got 5, so you generate 2 points of momentum. You now have a total of 3, and you are able to bypass the alarm and force the lock, and the hatch hisses open. And you look down, and we will take a short break, and I will tell you what you see.
Yes, the dramatic pause before the commercial.
That's right. Yeah, the screen fades to black, and we'll get some ads from our sponsors.
The cliffhanger.
Yep. How about 5-minute break? That okay with you guys?
Yeah, that'll be fun.
That's good.
Cool. Okay, I'm back. Is everybody else back?
Yep.
Excellent. Excellent. Okay.
I think Yong might still be putting the parasites to bed.
All right. That's cool. We can wait a few minutes. What's everybody else been doing in their gaming lives?
Well, like I said the other day on Facebook, I'm trying to focus on the moment. I had a real problem with focus this year.
Oh yeah.
I've been having a lot of ideas, and I keep kind of bouncing backwards and forwards from one to the other. So, I need
as a GM, what I suggest is just focus on one, but do it like with like short sessions in mind, because then you just get it out of your system.
Yeah, focusing on one, that's easy to say.
Yeah, I have like 100 different ideas, but right now my players basically were dealing with a battle against what was the equivalent of Thulsa Doom, because I really wanted to play the Conan soundtrack today. No, it's a great soundtrack. And then I was telling them about the fact is that it's perfect on mono. And then how I didn't get the Blu-ray version of the movie because they remastered the soundtrack to stereo.
So what rules are you using for Conan?
Oh, it wasn't Conan. It was basically something similar to that. It's Warhammer Fantasy.
Oh, what, the new edition, 4th edition?
Yeah, with some other things. So they basically were holding off, and then they basically were in a tent, and there was like a monster outside, and they couldn't go outside. All of that, and then the player afterwards like, "Why didn't it try to kill us?" It's a mythological creature. They have their own rules. It's like the Fae.
Yeah.
They don't act like animals. They act basically in terms of set stuff. So yeah.
Well, I'm going to accept the fact that I'm old, because I actually used to work for Games Workshop in the UK. I used to work in their store in Birmingham, and I remember when Warhammer Fantasy 1st edition came out.
Oh, the RPG, which is hilarious because there's actual half-elves.
And the tabletop game.
Oh, yeah.
War game, yeah.
No, that's great.
Back
when it was actually lots of fun, and before Games Workshop became bad.
I could be paid in store credit, which unfortunately I did a lot of the time. It meant I made virtually no money.
Well, it's really easy today, especially like when you have something like GameStop where they pay you in gift cards.
Yep. Yeah. But it means tucked away in the basement at the moment, I've actually got 1st edition of the tabletop war game and 1st edition of the fantasy role-playing game.
Yeah. The fantasy role-playing game actually is on a bundle of holding.
Yes. They've got it on bundle at the moment, haven't they? Yeah.
Yeah, so I was glad because now I actually have an official copy of the Marienburg Sourcebook, which is great.
Yeah.
So Paul, was that like the best game, the best job ever, or was it the worst job ever? Like, did it make you hate gaming? That's like the last thing you want to even think about when you got home, or?
Well, I'm still doing the gaming, 30 years on, so it didn't make me hate it. Okay. No, it was the best job ever. But the big problem with it was that I think I left around about the time Games Workshop kind of changed, and they started publishing only their own games.
Right.
Yeah, the big thing about it was back in the UK, they were the ones that were dealing with the D&D license, and then they started losing it, and then they're like, hey, wait, we still have all these miniatures. Let's just make a rule game for it.
Exactly. They had a lot of third-party games at one point, and within the space of, I don't know, probably about a year, 18 months, they dropped pretty much all of them.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing was that you could use your own miniatures in some of those games, and then It got a lot more rigid. Like, no, you need to use official Game Workshop stuff, not third-party stuff.
Well, they figured out as well that Citadel miniatures could be sold at exorbitant prices and people would still buy them because they were actually pretty good.
Oh, yeah, especially the Perry Brothers stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, like, the entire store suddenly turned to Warhammer Fantasy and then 40K and then Citadel miniatures and then paint. And
yeah.
it's pretty much what you see now.
Early Games Workshop was a lot more fun, and it's like the next generation didn't get it. Especially with the way they're doing 40K now. They destroyed fantasy, though.
It just seems much more commercial now. I don't know what it is. I mean, that's the only word I can use to describe it. Back when the first edition came out, it was fun.
I mean, you're seeing it even with like gaming companies that used to be just people working in garages. I was talking with a friend of mine, like, Activision doesn't even publish that many games anymore. It's just yearly Call of Duty releases, and last big game they released was Destiny 2.
Okay, Yong, you back?
Yep, I'm back, guys.
All right, excellent. So let's, just to reset the scene for you guys. Commander Styles, your former commanding officer, turned up dead. He had been killed by an interphasic parasite that you guys reckon had been planted on him by some sort of external force. At the same time, some sort of strange, anomalous subspace interference enveloped the station, keeping you from contacting anyone outside of the station. As you guys were investigating Styles' death, you discovered that he had located some kind of hidden deck. He was referring to it in his logs as deck 6.5 or deck 6.5 in the upper reaches of the station. So you guys, along with Tirana, junior Vulcan security officer, made your way through the Jeffries tubes to the hatch that leads into this deck 6.5 that you guys think is probably connected in some way to Operation Pheonix Reach, which was this huge extralegal Starfleet sanctioned surveillance program. You guys had found a way to force the hatch without setting off the alarm. It had slid open, and as you guys peer down, you look into a lighted corridor that doesn't look all that different from a normal corridor that you guys see throughout the station. And there is a kind of a small ladder leading downward to the floor below you.
Okay, guys.
After you, Commander Holm.
Yep. I think my character's gonna have to get used to being called a commander now. I'm gonna get down. To Church, can you get the subspace scanner here? Maybe we can actually pinpoint and see if this is the originating location for it.
Can't hear you, Paul. I think maybe you're muted again.
You must do the right of percussive maintenance. Turn it on and off.
Starfleet engineer trick number 2.
I'm just thinking of that scene from Armageddon when Peter Stormare just starts heading a machine just to get it going.
Is that better?
Yep,
yeah.
Now I can hear you.
Oh, yep. I saw the little.
We can hear you.
Okay, so what am I doing?
Setting up
You
a
tell
scanner
me.
for the subspace interference, because I'm guessing it's originating there.
I will see what I can pick up with my tricorder and see if it's at least stronger in this area.
Yeah, go ahead and give me, so you guys are still kind of hunched together around the hatch in the Jeffries tube above this corridor that you've discovered. Go ahead and give me a difficulty 1 reason plus science task, Paul, as you consult your tricorder.
Well, good news and bad news. The good news is I got 1 success. The bad news is I got a 20.
Okay. That is fun. That's fun as hell. So you discover, to your surprise, that there doesn't appear to be any subspace interference, at least in the corridor below you. The bad news is your scan trips some kind of alarm, and suddenly the well-lit Starfleet-shaped corridor below you, there's sort of a swishing sound, and it is replaced by thick jungle-like foliage.
Say what now?
Lieutenant Research, what the hell did you do?
It was just a scan. So we're, what, standing in the middle of a jungle now?
You are not standing in the middle of it. You're looking down into it from the Jeffries.
Oh, I climbed down as I told them to scan, so I'm in the middle of a jungle.
Yes, so you'd already climbed down. Okay, so as you kind of clamber down this ladder, at first it looks like you're in a Starfleet corridor, and as you look around, you see computer terminals, consoles, blinking lights. It looks pretty standard issue. A moment later, you maybe even catch a glimpse of something like an insignia on the wall that looks like the Starfleet Delta logo, but instead of the normal gold color inside, it's actually all black. But then just an instant later, everything transforms into this steamy jungle scene with trees and foliage, the sounds of a jungle, insects, birds. It's quite disorienting, actually.
Any clues on what's going on here? He looks around.
Can I scan to see if this is a hologram?
You certainly can. It would be a difficulty 1, reason plus engineering task.
2 successes.
Okay, you generate a point of momentum, and you detect the presence of a series of holographic emitters that are quite advanced, more advanced than what would be standard issue on a starship.
Okay, we're going to have to investigate further, but I strongly recommend caution.
Yes, well, they actually have the initiative here, so we should be extra cautious. But yeah, we need to disable these emitters and get going.
The doctor looks up and says, "Computer, end program."
It would be amazing if that actually worked.
Yeah, you hear the computer's feminine voice say, "Cannot comply."
Well, I had to give it a try.
Okay, let's go. Let's see what's down there.
So all 4 of you clamber down the ladder, and you find yourselves in this disorienting jungle-like scene. Tirana actually arches an eyebrow and says, "Fascinating." And it's actually difficult to see very far in front of you because of the thickness of this holographic vegetation.
Well, whoever's behind this probably knows we're here by now, so I'll start scanning with the tricorder to see if I can pick up anything other than the holograms.
Yeah, give me a difficulty 2, reason plus. You can give me science or engineering, as you once again flip open your tricorder.
Oh, it's going to be engineering. Just the 1 success.
Okay, so you think that these advanced holographic emitters are masking whatever real life forms might be on this deck.
Commander?
Well then, computer can comply. Is it possible for the computer to at least have a terminal open, or can we forcibly bypass the computer?
It might be. It could always be possible. You'd have to find a terminal first.
Using the tricorder, he tries to look for the location of the holographic emitters.
Yeah, that'll be a difficulty 2 reason plus science task.
I got a success and a complication.
Okay. So you think that there is you just got one success, Yong?
Yeah, I just got one success.
Okay. So you think that there are numerous emitters, not just one, not just several, but numerous. It's almost difficult to lock them all down. It's almost like this room was designed to be an advanced holography lab or something. And so you're not able to kind of point in the direction of like, there's the main one there. There's so many that it's hard to distinguish exactly which one you would need to interact with to shut the simulation down.
We can try phasers on a wide beam. See if we could catch enough of the emitters to cause them to shut down. Commander?
Well, it's one of our best options. I'm just thinking maybe we can just force the tricorder to scan and disrupt a piece of the hologram so we get a terminal and just force the computer. Brute force.
Chances are the computer's been locked out by whoever built this place. I think we may have to take the brute force option in this case.
Sure.
I concur, and then he raises his phaser, getting ready to shoot.
Well, the Doctor and I will set the phasers for wide beam, and yeah, let them have it.
Yeah, absolutely. So you guys take a minor action to set your phasers to wide beam. So anyone who's going to fire your phaser in this manner, give me a difficulty 2 control plus security task, please.
Two success, one critical success.
1 success and a 19, which I don't think is a critical, but it's darn close.
No, yeah, it's very close. Let me roll. 2 successes.
Okay. Okay, so Yong, you said you got 2 successes and 1 critical success, so a total of 4.
Oh, I think you rolled 2 dice, didn't you, Yong?
Yeah, I rolled 2 dice, and I got 1 on one of them.
Oh, okay. So a total of 3 successes then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's still good.
So yeah, you generate a point of momentum, and actually the doctor who to this point in the campaign had been fairly worthless with a phaser, actually lucks out and fires his phaser on wide beam dispersal, and for a moment the simulation in the direction that he fires flickers. Lieutenant Commander Holm, you do the same thing, and you fire as well. Your phaser blast doesn't really turn up anything of interest. Dr. Stanislov, you actually are able to disrupt the simulation, the holographic simulation, long enough that you see just for an instant a flash of a control panel, maybe about 20 meters in the direction you're looking.
Lieutenant Holm, Commander Holm, did you see that panel?
Yes, let's get that. Let's go.
Okay, so you guys start to move in that direction. I'm going to spend 2 points of threat. Oh, just to recap, I'm going to spend 2 points of threat, which leaves me with 2, 4, 7 points of threat. You guys have 5 points of momentum built up right now. But I'm going to give the bad guys the initiative as a phaser blast lances out through the thick foliage of this holographic jungle, and it's going to fire at Lieutenant Tirana. And I'm also going to spend a point of threat to get myself an extra die. And I just hit her. And I am going to roll 5 of these. Okay, so she takes 5 points of damage as this phaser blast lances out through the foliage and hits her square in the chest. Here is the choice that you guys get to make. She can either go down as injured, or you can spend 2 points of momentum to allow her to fight through the injury.
Well, I don't think I want to have any more people get killed. What do you guys think? She sleeps it off?
I'm with that. Spend the momentum.
Yeah, we like Tirana.
Okay, so that drops you from 5 points of momentum to 3. And I need to mark off her stress. Okay, so she's hit by a phaser blast, but because of her superior Vulcan constitution, she's able to shrug it off and stay in the fight. The initiative shifts to you guys as you stare into the simulated jungle, still having a difficult time discerning where that phaser blast came from or how many foes you face. And any of you may act.
Can I fire in the general direction of the phaser blast?
Yes, you can, but that will ordinarily that would be a difficulty 2 task to fire your phaser. This will be a difficulty 3 task because of the thickness of the jungle.
Okay. I will spend the momentum to get the extra dice.
Okay. You're down to 2 points of momentum.
Okay. This is probably going to be what, daring and security?
It is control plus security. Daring plus security is when you do like a melee attack. A ranged attack is control plus security.
Yes. Okay, so 12. 2 hits or 2 successes.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your damage.
We're going to be carrying type 2s, aren't we?
Yep.
Okay. So it's going to be not a lot. So that's going to be 2, 3, 4, and no effect.
And I'll just interject here. So you also, on your turn, you get a major action and a minor action. You can spend that minor action to move around, or you can spend it to aim, which allows you to re-roll one of your dice. Or you could sort of change the settings on your phaser, I think.
I will take the minor action first then and put the phaser back on narrow beam and then fire in the direction that I saw the phaser blast come from.
So, Paul, you've got some choices. And I think everyone who's got a type 2 phaser can do this. Charge. You can give your phaser one of the following attacks: area, intense, piercing, or vicious. Piercing allows you to ignore some armor or resistance, depending on how many effects you roll. Vicious adds damage. Intense makes it harder to ignore injuries. And area means you might hit more than one target if they're close together.
Well, I've just said I'll take it off area, so I'll set it on, I think it was intense.
Okay, so that would make it harder for a target to ignore an injury if you cause an injury.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and, you said 4 points of damage?
4 points of damage.
Okay, cool.
Probably still don't know what I've hit.
Yeah, you hear a grunt, sounding like a humanoid grunt. Oh, okay. Okay, so if you like, you can spend your remaining 2 points of momentum to keep the initiative on your side. Otherwise, it will shift to one of your foes.
Up to you guys.
Okay, what I'm going to do is I am actually going to, if they're using the foliage and all that, I am going to basically do a move action, but what can I do to stealth in and try to get the jump on these people.
So, well, let me just ask you: are you spending the momentum to keep the initiative?
Yes.
Miguel?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So, so you what is your intent?
Basically, what I'm thinking of is I'm using the minor action move, but also to get up close to them. So something along the lines of a stealth check.
Yeah.
Because it's a thick jungle, and it probably goes both ways.
Yeah, you bet. Give me a daring. This would be a daring plus security task, and it'll be we'll say it's difficulty 2 to see if you are able to move within range of one of the bad guys without being detected.
Okay, I'm assuming survival applies because it's outdoorsy.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Cool.
I'm convinced.
I'm going to spend a momentum, so we're down to 0.
You currently have no momentum. You use your
Okay,
last 2
cool.
points to keep the initiative. So you can pay me threat if you like. Otherwise, you just got to make the roll.
Might as well. You got a threat.
Okay.
Okay, I got 7 and 9 and 17. 2 successes.
Okay, so you are able to, like a puma, lunge through the jungle and sneak up on whoever it was that just fired on Lieutenant Tirana. And you're able to sneak up on this person. It actually looks like a humanoid male wearing a completely dark-covered uniform without any sort of rank or insignia or anything like that. And you're able to slap the phaser from his hands, and he drops it to the ground. You can still make an attack if you like. That was just your sort of minor move action.
Okay, well then, this is going to go real toss here, so let's go with a hand-to-hand.
Okay, so that will be daring plus security, and I will compare it to the result that your foe gets.
Okay, I'm going to roll. 1 success.
Okay, that is enough. Go ahead and roll your damage, and this will be, I think, 2 plus your security.
I think it's 1 for unarmed.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Yep, 1 plus your
And
security.
plus security, so it's 6. But I have vicious because mean right hook. Because Kirk. Because what is it? I looked at the GM screen, and it had like the toss character sheets, and Kirk has mean right hook as a talent. I'm like, yeah, makes sense.
You bet he does.
I got a 5 and 6, which for this batch, and then 4, 3, 4. So the 5 and 6. Let me look up my notes for that.
For vicious, I think they just both do 2 points of damage.
Yeah, so basically it's now 2. So I did 4 points of damage.
Yep. Okay. So you drive him back into the foliage of the forest, but he is still up, but he's not looking so good.
Yeah, it's like as it goes down, slaps down, then it's like the double fist hit, all of that. And now he could try to take out a foam branch to hit me with.
One of the other operatives is going to fire at Lieutenant Chassearch, who just hit somebody with a phaser. I'll use a point of threat to get an extra die. And I got 2 successes. One, 2, 3, 4. That does 4 points of damage to you, Lieutenant Chassearch.
And I don't believe we have any momentum, do we?
You do not.
So I might just have to take
Well,
that.
it's only for 5 damage plus that you have get an injury. So.
Yep. If one attack does 5 or more, that's an injury. Or if you're dropped to 0 stress, that's an injury.
Okay, well, I'm good so far, but that hurt.
Okay. All right. So the initiative goes back to you guys. I think Dr. Stanislov and Tirana have not acted this round.
Stanislav is going to drop prone to take cover and try and fire the broad, wide beam in the general direction of where the fire is coming from.
Okay.
Okay, complication means I get hit.
Yeah.
Yes, it will. So this will be, because you're firing through the foliage, this will be a difficulty 3 task.
Okay. We don't have any momentum, right?
You do not. You can pay me threat if you want the extra die.
Yeah, I'll pay a threat.
Okay, so this will be control plus security.
Okay. 3 success.
Okay, so you got it. So roll your damage for your phaser, and this will do damage to 2 of the bad guys plus your comrade, Lieutenant Commander Holm.
Okay, so let's see. 3s are out, right?
Yep, 3s are 0.
And I got 1, 4, and 5. Those all count.
Wait, just 1
1
5?
and 5.
What's that? 1 and 5 counts. Okay, 3 and 4 is out. Yep, so 2 damage.
Okay. So, Lieutenant Commander Holm, the guy that you are fighting is now unconscious. You take 2 points of stress damage, and you hear another grunt from somewhere near you in the foliage as well, as Dr. Stanislov fires this widely dispersed beam into the jungle. The momentum shifts back to the bad guys, who still... Yep, okay. And another phaser blast comes out through the jungle, and this time it's going to fire at the doctor who's prone. But because he's prone, I'll make it a difficulty 3. I'm going to spend a point of threat for an extra D20.
Yes, Dr. Stanislov doing a combat prone maneuver.
But I got my 3 successes.
Operator on the weekends.
I learned it from watching you, all right?
It's like you got 2 phasers and a duct tape, so when one runs out, you just switch to the other.
So, Yong, this phaser blast does 3 points of stress damage to you.
Oh, man.
And we are back to, I think, Tirana is the only...
Yeah, Toronto hasn't acted.
Yep. What do you want Tirana to do? I've got her stats here.
I think it'd be smart for her to return fire, unless she can just go into cover and fire.
Yeah, so she can take her minor action to kind of slink into the brush to make her a more difficult target, but then she won't be able to, manipulate her phaser or anything else like that. So you guys, one of you can decide. If you just want her to duck and cover, she'll be firing blind. It'll be a difficulty 3 task.
Okay, let's see her fire blind.
Okay. So actually, one of you guys can roll it. She's got a 15 for control plus security. So roll 2 d20s. It's a difficulty 3 task. Your target number is a 15.
She got 16 and 9, so only 1 success.
Okay. So, yeah, she kind of ducks behind a log and fires blindly into the jungle and doesn't hit anything. So now we're on to round 2. The initiative is with you guys. Any of you may act.
Okay. Other than Toronto just recreating that one scene from Predator, am I able to pinpoint where the other guy was?
Yeah, you think you could get there with a minor action?
Okay, I'm going to get there with a minor action and try and get him out too.
Okay. And this is a melee attack?
Pretty much. I mean, I want these guys unconscious, not dead. And what is it? I always think of that Klingon disruptor scene from Star Trek 3 when the phaser fights are going.
Oh, yeah, and he like flies backwards.
Well, no, the Klingon disruptor where the guy says, good shot, and Krug just shoots him with the disruptor.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, dang. Okay, so let's see this. I'm going to roll. This is going to be 2 successes.
Okay, that is enough. So roll your damage. Your foe, another humanoid clad in an all-black outfit, got 1 success.
Yeah, well, what is it with Starfleet and black outfit? I don't even remember us having those. Okay, I got 2 6s with this one. Now the next group. Oh gosh. Okay, 2 6s, another 6, so that's 3, and then 2 5s. So 6.
It's like 7.
7. 2 5s makes it 4 plus 3 6s, which is 6. Is 2 times 3 is 6, so that's 10. You want to
10.
spend a threat for him to stay up?
No, he goes down. Go ahead and narrate for me this physical attack that knocks out this foe.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is the point where, he stops the right hook, and then it's like the arm is up in the air, deflecting, and then it's just a knee to the stomach, all of that. Punch him toward a tree, he gets unconscious all. So who do we have left here?
It's hard to tell because of the thick jungle. But it is now, the initiative now shifts to your foes. And they're going to buy an extra D20 to fire as a phaser blast heads in your direction, Lieutenant Commander Holm, after you just knocked out this agent. And I get my 2 successes.
Okay, cool.
This will be... So that's going to do 5 points of damage to you as the phaser strikes you. You don't have any momentum to avoid the
I know, so I can spend determination, but 1 second. I got to see if veteran applies for that thing. Yeah, I spend a point of determination, so I take 5 damage, but I may regain it. So let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the sheet. And time to get a D6. No effect, so that determination is gone.
Okay. So you take the 5 damage, but you fight on, correct?
Yep.
Okay, cool. And I'm going to spend 2 more threat to keep the initiative on this side, as another phaser blast lances out at Lieutenant Chsearch. And that hits, and I get a point back. Now that does 4 more points of stress damage to you, Paul.
Do we have any momentum at all?
You do not.
Okay, I'll just take that one on the chin then.
You could pay me threat to stay in the fight if you like. You can do that once per scene.
Yeah, sure. I've got an idea I want to do. So yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So I'm back up to 5 points of threat, and you guys have no momentum at the moment, but you do have the initiative.
Can I tell where this control panel was, roughly?
Yeah, you can get over there with a minor action.
I was thinking more of shooting it.
Let's see here. Will it work like in the movies? Or the hologram movies?
Well, it doesn't seem to matter whether it's a door lock or a control panel or something like that. Shooting it always turns it off. That's kind of the way it works, isn't it? Isn't it?
Okay, let's hope so.
You know what, Paul? Yeah, absolutely. That's how it works. But it's going to be a difficulty 3 task rather than difficulty 2 because of the jungle foliage.
Okay. I will. Yes, I'll take a minor action to aim as best I can.
You have a determination?
Sorry?
You have a point of determination.
Yep, you all have 1 point of determination, except
That's
for
true, I do.
Lieutenant Commander Holm spent his.
Yeah, let's go for that then. Let's go for that.
Okay, so you spend your determination to get 1 critical success, so you only need 1 success on this roll.
Okay. And that's a 6. So yeah, that'll work. The other one was not.
So cool, yeah. You sort of basically just using your keen Andorian memory to remember where that panel was, because you saw it just for a split second. Yeah, use your antennas. They guide your shot. And you fire into that location that you remember. There is a shower of sparks, and the simulation of the jungle vanishes. And you are once again in a Starfleet-looking laboratory with hollow emitters set up all over the place. On one wall, you see once again there is this Arrowhead Starfleet Delta logo, but it's been all blacked out. And you see that there are 2 remaining foes clad in all black, brandishing phasers towards you. But they have both acted this round. So Stanislov and Tirana can still act this round.
Yeah, I guess they're going to go jump him.
Stanislav says, "Let's drop him, Tirana." And then he fires away.
Okay, this will be a difficulty 2, control plus security task.
9 and 17. He fails, but he's going to spend determination.
Okay, so that will
get
give you your critical success. So that will give you a point of momentum. And you hit, so go ahead and roll your damage.
6, 6, 5, 5, and then 1 more. 5. So 5 damage.
And that's a lot of effects.
Yeah.
So yeah, that will actually... I'm going to spend 2 points of damage to keep him in the fight. He takes the stress damage, but he's not injured. Tirana can now act. What would you like her to do?
Let's drop that one.
Yeah, she's going to set her beam to focus, and I guess she'll fire. So let's see, she needs to get under a 15.
Yep.
She got a 16 and 14. The 1 success.
Okay, so this time the foe is able to kind of lurch out of the way, and the phaser blast hits another computer panel behind him. There's another shower of sparks.
At least there's no explosive decompression, guys.
Yeah, nothing like that so far. We're now in round 3, and you guys have the initiative. You guys have 1 point of momentum, and I have 3 points of threat.
Okay, then it's time to do the Kirk drop pick here. So I'm going to get at that guy that shot me. I'm going to spend a momentum to get 3 dice, and let's go.
Okay. Oh, I got 3 successes.
Okay, yes. I got 2 2s. This is under hand-to-hand. So that is 4 and then an 8. So 5.
Okay. So go ahead and roll your damage as you make a successful melee attack.
Yeah. This is like pro wrestling. Okay, 1 success, 1 effect. No, 1 because it was a natural 1. Maybe roll this. And a 6, so 3 damage.
Okay. So you guys circle around each other, and it's almost like a kung fu movie. There's a flurry of blows on both sides, and you're able to land a couple punches, does some stress, but he stays up.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. The initiative will shift over to here, as this time one of the 2 remaining foes is going to fire a phaser at Doc Stanislav. I'm going to spend a point of, and he will take a moment to aim, so I can re-roll one of my d20s, but I'm going to spend threat to roll 3 die.
The doctor is that dangerous.
Okay, so I got my 2 successes. Oh, wow.
That's not
so that
good.
does 8, yeah, that does 8 points of stress damage to you, Doc.
That drops me to 0.
Okay, so that will cause an injury unless you pay me 2 more threat.
Yeah, I wanna.
Or you can spend a determination.
I spent the determination already.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I gotta pay 2 threats.
Okay, so you still take that. You're still at 0 stress, but you're able to stay in the fight. You will not. You can only do that once per scene. So if you take another injury, then you are injured. There's nothing you can do to avoid it. Okay, the initiative shifts to you guys. Chesirch, Stanislav, and Tirana may any of you may act.
Okay. Who wants to do the return fire?
Stanislav is gonna return fire. He's gonna go.
I think Paul wants to, but he's muted.
Oh.
Turn it off and on again, Paul.
Yeah, go ahead, Yong, while Paul.
Okay, he gets shot square in the body, and then he says, I'm going to get that guy, and shoots. And 2 and 13. Yep, he makes 2 successes.
Okay, let me ask you this. Are you shooting at the guy that is currently in a melee with Lieutenant Commander Holm, or are you shooting at the other guy who's sort of by himself in the room?
He's shooting at the guy that just shot him.
Okay, that's the guy by himself. Yep. Cool.
Yep. So he's returning fire. 5. 3s don't count. 4s don't count. 1 point of damage.
Okay. Cool. The guy who is fighting Lieutenant Commander Holm drops his phaser and looks you in the eye for a moment and says, "Defend yourself."
Am I back?
Yep, you're back, Paul. So go ahead. This will be an opposed test, Miguel. Okay. I'm spending threat to get 2 additional dice.
Yeah, and since I had a 5 last time, I'm going to spend those momentum to get 2 additional dice. Make this a lot more dramatic here.
3 successes over here.
Okay, 1. That 1 second. Okay, I got a complication and 1 success.
Okay, so this guy wins the opposed challenge for several damage. He does 3 points of damage to you and knocks you down. What could a complication be? Can anyone come up with a good complication?
Breaks his hand.
That would be bad, losing an arm for right now. That just means I have to increase all like fitness tests difficulty by 1 would be good.
Yes, I agree. So yeah, you suffer a minor injury. We'll say it's like a fracture in your hand, and that will make any task that involves your hands will be 1 step more difficult until you get that fixed.
Okay.
Okay, so we've got Lieutenant Chesirch and Tirana who have yet to act in this round.
Okay, if you can still hear me, I'll take a shot back.
Yep.
Shoot.
Paul, are you going to shoot at the guy who is engaged with Lieutenant Commander Holm, or are you going to shoot the guy who's all by himself?
I'll shoot the guy that's all by himself. I don't want to take a chance on hitting the commander.
Okay. And you want to take a minor action to aim or to adjust your phaser or to move?
I will leave it set on intense, but I will take a minor action to aim.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So be a difficulty 2.
7 and a 9, which is 2 successes.
Okay, so that hits.
And that's 2, 3, 4 damage and an effect.
Okay, cool.
Ooh, what does a tense do? Since that's the effect.
It makes, to avoid an injury, I have to pay 3 threat instead of 2.
Oh.
But he is still hanging on. He's down, but he's not out.
Cool.
And that brings us to Tirana. What do we want Tirana to do?
She's going to aim and fire. So, gotta get under 15. And since she's aiming, she can reroll 1 failure. 4 and a 18, so that 18 is going to be re-rolled. And it's a 19. She is not having a good day.
Yeah, Toronto's having a
That's
rough
when you get winded.
for
So,
a security officer.
well, the dice have their own ideas.
Yep.
Can be cruel.
Okay, so we're going to start the 4th round of the combat. I have 1 point of threat, and you guys have 0 momentum, but you guys have the initiative, and any of you may act.
Yeah, I'm going to try to take out this guy. Now, this is basically me trying to do, what is it? I think it was a Bruce Lee movie where he had a broken leg and then he starts... No, that's the Karate Kid I'm thinking of. Let's see if I can do a crane kick.
Okay, so remember, this will basically any successes you get will have a reduction of 1 because of the injury. Oh, wait, you're kicking? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying the Karate Kid, you know, the crane kick.
Okay, I'll allow it, yeah.
Okay, 1 second. I'm going to give you a threat, so you have 2, and I'm going to roll 3 dice.
Okay, I just got 2 successes.
Well then, good news is I only got 1 success, so he is able to anticipate the crane kick, like in the Karate Kid.
Yeah, he reverses the attack on you and does 4 more points of stress damage on you.
Ouch. Now it's the guys' turn.
Yeah, okay. He will spend a point of threat, and he will attack you. And he gets... Oh, wow. I got 4 successes.
I got 2 successes.
Okay. Roll. So that is 4 more points of damage and knocks you down.
Okay, then. Good news is I got 2 stress bubbles left.
All right. So you guys are engaging in this knockdown, drag-out fight while everyone else is sort of having a phaser crossfire.
Yeah, it's kind of exhausting. Like, have you ever seen Atomic Blonde, and when they're doing the extended fight sequence, everyone's just so miserable looking and exhausted.
Yeah, the fatigue is starting to set in. There's dramatic music blaring. And so now the initiative is back to you guys. Search, Stanislav, or Tirana. Any of you may act.
Is the subspace interference still going on?
You know?
I'd have to stop and check my tricorder, and I don't think I'm going to do that.
Yeah, we don't have time for that, do we?
Yeah. The doc is going to return fire.
Okay.
The same guy that he's been attacking.
Okay. So do you want to take a minor action to aim or adjust your phaser?
He's going to... Actually, if I do a wide beam, would I be able to hit both of them?
No, he is too far away from the melee. If you were to use your wide beam, you could hit both Holm and his opponent.
Okay. All right. He's going to continue on with the narrow beam and shoot the guy.
Okay. So are you going to
He'll aim. He'll aim.
Cool. All right.
So I failed 1, so I get to re-roll.
Reroll.
8. Yeah, so he got it.
You need 2 successes on a ranged attack. So roll 1 more time.
So he had 8, and then he rolled 17, and then 17 was a failure, so I re-rolled it, and I got 8.
So you got a ranged attack is
I got 2 successes.
Okay, perfect. All right, go ahead and roll damage.
Oh, 1, 5. Yeah, just 1 point of damage.
Okay. He's holding on. He's not looking so good, but that's just another. Yeah, you hit like a control panel next to him, and some sparks fly up and burn him a little bit, but he is still up and going. He'll return fire. I'm gonna spend my last point of threat. as he adjusts his phaser for the one that does extra damage. Is it vicious or is it intense?
Vicious is the one that does extra damage with effects. He really wants Stanislav down. You picked him off, man.
I got my 2 successes, so I will roll my damage, and any effect I rolled does an extra point of damage. 2, 4. That does 5 points of damage, Yong. That will put you down, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have any stress left.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay. So, yes, you are injured. So the phaser was set to stun, so it doesn't, like, eviscerate you or disintegrate you or anything like that. But you go down to the deck unconscious.
Thank God I didn't get vaporized.
Hey, you were talking about a new Klingon.
So now we've got Stanislav is down. So Chisearch and Tirana can both still act.
Okay, I'll see if I can take this guy out then. So another aim and fire.
Fire
3 and a 7,
that
which
hits.
is just 2 successes. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and roll your damage.
2, 4, 6, and 1, 7.
7. Okay, so that takes that guy out.
Cool. Finally.
4. So he falls. So now the only enemy combatant is currently engaged in a melee with Lieutenant Commander Holm, and Tirana is the only one who has yet to act in this round. What would you like Tirana to do?
Yeah, she's gonna aim and fire. Doesn't understand the human concept of honor duels and all that.
Okay. If she rolls a complication, she will hit you, Lieutenant Commander Holm.
I am willing to work with that, and also she aims. So if I do get a 20, we have to confirm the 20.
Okay, cool.
9 and a 2, so it does hit.
Okay, so she aims expertly and is able to hit the enemy without doing any harm to you. Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay, how many dice does her phaser have?
Oh, yeah, sorry. She rolls 6 challenge dice.
Okay, cool. Good news, she got 5 with 3 of those being effects. She didn't have vicious, so...
And I am fresh out of threat, so this brings down the last foe. So you guys find yourself in this strange, unregistered laboratory full of holographic equipment. Dr. Stanislav is injured and on the ground, but you guys have taken out 4 foes. What do you do?
I'm going to go check on the doctor.
Yeah.
Not that I can actually do anything, but, you know, I can at least check.
Yeah, you can stabilize him. You can administer first aid, which will keep him from... Well, he's been stunned. It's not lethal anyway.
But he might die.
He can't die.
Can I smack him a bit just to kind of wake him up?
Starfleet issued smelling salts.
You think he's going to be out for several more minutes, but you are able to confirm that there was no the phasers were set to stun and his life is not in danger at this point.
So was that a yes or a no on the smacking?
Oh yeah, you can absolutely smack him. It just doesn't wake him up.
Okay.
Lieutenant, let's get this going. We need to get this going. I'm going to have Tirana help me. We're going to get these guys tied up.
Okay.
So in case they come back from consciousness, they're not going to be trouble with us.
Yep, you're able to restrain them.
My big question is, I don't recognize the dark uniforms and badges. I mean, they're clearly Starfleet style, but who are these guys?
Your question is as good as mine. Well, we have computers to access that haven't been exploded, so let's get going. So Tirana and I are just going to get these people we have found and all that. We can interrogate them later.
Okay, I'll take a look at the computers that are nearby, see if I can figure out what this place is, and I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking for. This is totally out of the ordinary.
So it looks like everything in here has holographic interfaces, and you're able to, but they don't operate all that differently from what you're used to on the rest of the Starbase. So you're able to call them up and start looking through it. And it looks like this whole thing is some sort of highly advanced artificial intelligence that is tapped into all of these subspace radio satellites, sensor arrays that have been placed by Starfleet throughout Federation space. And the whole concept behind these sensor arrays is they're supposed to be on the lookout for naturally occurring interstellar spatial phenomena. But it looks like they've been reprogrammed to track people and ships. And it looks like their range has been increased to look beyond Federation space, but also looking inward. It looks like this is some sort of almost like spying at the speed of warp. And this artificial intelligence is able to conduct analyses in real time to flag suspicious and threatening behavior, almost down to the individual. Anyone who interacts with data pads and warp engines and transporters, this can all be tracked down to almost an individual level in most cases if you're close enough to these subspace sensor arrays.
So they're basically tracking everybody.
Nearly, yeah.
Everybody interacts with computers, data pads, transporters.
We're talking about trillions of intelligent beings in the Federation, and this thing has the ability to track just about anybody.
Okay, we're dealing with Apple.
So it looks like this right here in front of us is Pheonix Reach. This is the AI that was talked about in those documents. It's actually based here on Starbase 23.
Yeah, it kind of looks that way. And as you guys start to, as you guys look through this equipment, you actually hear Admiral Chithanis as she strides into the room. She says, "I wish you hadn't found this."
I kind of wish we hadn't either.
Well, you have found Pheonix Reach. You found the real reason that I was stationed to command this starbase. And you also, Lieutenant Jasurch, found the reason that Captain Serensky had to die.
Okay, that I'm not happy about. What do you mean? Why did he have to die? What?
After the parasitic organisms infiltrated Starfleet and the highest ranks of the Federation, a task force was put together to come up with a way to keep that from ever happening again. I worked with Captain Serensky to put together a prototype for Pheonix Reach. And our understanding was this would be used as a spying device on the species that we had already identified as threats, external threats, the Romulans, the Cardassians, the Borg. We turned our prototype over to Starfleet, and during a meeting at Utopia Planitia shipyards, we were told that they wanted us to develop the technology further to spy internally on Federation citizens. Captain Serensky decided that was a bridge too far, an intrusion into privacy. He decided that privacy would no longer have any meaning in the United Federation of Planets. And so he told the Admiralty that it was a bad idea, that he wanted to scrap the entire project. That's when a rogue entity known as Section 31 arranged the shuttle accident that claimed his life. Section 31 also threatened me. They said if I didn't continue the work that I would meet a similar fate. And I thought that I could keep an eye on it, at least minimize the damage. And so I volunteered to continue to develop Pheonix Reach here on Starbase 23.
So this is it. This is Pheonix Reach here in this room. This is all of it.
This is the command center of Pheonix Reach. As you've probably surmised by now, its tentacles reach literally, virtually anywhere in Federation space and beyond.
I've got to say, I'm with Captain Serensky on this. This is too much. This is not, even if this was originally ordered by the Federation Council for keeping an eye on our enemies, this is too much. This can't be allowed to continue.
Well, what would you do about that, Lieutenant Junior Grade Research?
Good question. Let's see. How much damage would a phaser on overload do?
You can just shoot it.
I'm trying very hard to be subtle here, but it's not easy to be subtle faced with this. It's up to you, Admiral.
Lieutenant, I'm not happy about this situation. And you could absolutely destroy all of the equipment in this room, but Section 31 knows how this place was built. They would probably build another one.
So what would you suggest?
Well, Lieutenant, here's how I see it. First of all, I hereby order each of you to never mention Pheonix Reach to any unauthorized persons for as long as you live. If you disobey this order, I promise you that Section 31 will find out and you'll be dealt with accordingly. Your discovery of this facility means our current status quo is no longer tenable. Your very knowledge of Pheonix Reach jeopardizes the entire project. So I offer all four of you a choice. You can either join Section 31 as full-fledged agents, or I can authorize your transfer to a deep space assignment that'll take you far from Starbase 23. But you have to decide now.
I guess this is a point me and Toronto come in with a woken up Stanislav.
Yeah, there you go. Stanislav is now conscious, though in no condition to move around much.
Oh, Commander Holmes, Lieutenant Research, Admiral, what did I miss?
I'm guessing the Admiral knew about this. And this is the thing you were talking about to search?
Yep, this is the thing. And it seems like we don't have a lot of choice.
So you're saying that this is sanctioned by the Federation?
Well, it was originally, according to the documentation that we've got, but it seems to have been repurposed by this Section 31, whoever they are.
Who is Section 31?
Section 31 is a rogue element. Starfleet, in its wisdom and frankly its arrogance, doesn't like to get its hands dirty. And that often handcuffs what Starfleet intelligence and what Starfleet security can do in a very dangerous galaxy. Section 31 is willing to get its hands dirty, to do what needs to be done to really protect Federation security. We do what Starfleet is unwilling to do so it can keep its conscience and its hands clean.
So that means killing Commander Styles.
And Captain Serensky.
Well, I was upset that Commander Styles was, that was a decision made by these agents whom you've dealt with in this room. That was not authorized on my part. I would have preferred to have handled it differently, but he would not relent in his investigation of this room.
Admiral Jathanis, how would you silence us?
Well, the way I see it, I've offered I've offered you two choices. You can either join Section 31 and become full-fledged agents, or I can transfer you onto a deep space mission on a starship that will take you far away from here, where you won't be able to interfere with the development of this project any longer. Or there is a third option, but that would likely mean you would meet a similar fate as Commander Styles.
Admiral Jathanis, I'm a doctor. My purpose on this starbase is to save lives. And just now, you have told me that you had a hand in killing 2 of Federation officers. And one of them were our superior officer and our friend.
Don't you think that Section 31 saves lives? Don't you think that the intelligence that this operation, this very operation that you guys have stumbled onto, has gathered information that's helped prevent numerous attacks and disasters within Federation space? If you want to talk about saving lives, Doctor, there are few places better to be than Section 31.
At what cost?
The doctor is right. The question is we are dealing with intense. Just because we succeed in, say, saving the Federation, the ways we did to justify those ends isn't good. The Federation was founded as an ideal, and just being able to just sidestep those guidelines, despite us being in an imperfect world, is not good at all. We all went through Starfleet Academy. We all been drilled in the courses there.
I'm a sworn Starfleet officer, and I cannot just stand about and let this breach of protocol and an anathema of everything that we stand for to go on. This is wrong, and you know it.
Then, gentlemen, it sounds to me like you prefer the transfer alternative.
Admiral, I want an answer from you at some point. I want your word. I want a question answered. Who ordered Captain Serensky's death? I want the name of the person.
I'm sorry it came to this, Lieutenant.
If you give me your word that you will tell me who ordered Captain Serensky's death, I'm with you.
You'll with me as in joining Section 31?
Yep. As long as I have the opportunity to make sure that that person is brought to justice.
By the way, could I interrupt just a moment? How many personnel are there? Are there like security officers there, or is it just the Admiral?
In this room, it is the 4 of you, your player characters plus Tirana, plus 4 unconscious Section 31 operatives, and Admiral Jathanis. Okay.
Doctor is gonna basically try and stand up from his prone position, and he holds his hand up and says, "Admiral Jathanis, I hereby arrest you of treason against Federation for the murder of your fellow officers, and you're in no position to demand our surrender." And then he levels his phaser at her.
What does Tirana do? Because she's by the books. I think she would go with Stanislav.
So she looks at Dr. Stanislav's phaser and she says, you can press that trigger, but I promise you there are other Section 31 operatives who will replace me. And this entire facility will probably not be here tomorrow, but it can be rebuilt someplace else.
We will arrest you, and we will have you face a trial by other admirals. What do you say, Commander Holmes? He's frail and his hands are shaking. And he looks at Lieutenant
I mean, I agree with Stanislav. That's the thing, is that my character it believes Starfleet as an ideal, and 31 is the anthenema to everything he believes in. The very fact is that the Federation is a democracy. Being able to sidestep that and monitor our own citizens, every thoughts, every action goes against it. We can't have maximum security by sacrificing liberty.
Well, you can take me into custody if you like, Doctor. I think you'll find that it won't make much of a difference in the long term.
Admiral, you may do what you've done to our commander. You may transfer us to the farthest reaches of this galaxy. But know that today, even in my state, I wouldn't go along with this Section 31 if it would kill me.
As you wish. Then I will turn myself over to your custody.
Okay, then. I'm going to have to get in contact with Admiral Jellicoe right away.
And as you do that, over her shoulder, as Admiral Chithanis is being led away, she looks over her shoulder at Lieutenant Chesirch, and she says, his name was Sloan. I'm sorry it came to this. I really am.
So am I. Guys, I'm sorry. I'll lift my phaser up and point it at these two. I can't let you arrest the Admiral. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to ask you this. What would Skorensky want? Revenge? Or the defilement of Starfleet?
Lieutenant
I'm not going to convince you otherwise. This is your choice.
It's not a question. It's not a question of what Skorensky wants. It's a question of what I want.
Mm-hmm.
Just search. Look what you're doing. You have lived through the pain of your mentor being killed. And you're about to side with the same faction that has committed this murder. We have gotten this far working together to uncover this conspiracy. We can find the killer and then bring him to justice. You do not have to join these villains.
At this point, yeah, I kind of do. I don't think I've got any choice. I don't think any of us have any choice.
We always have choices.
Yeah. I'm making this one. Are you with the Admiral and myself?
Mm-hmm. Tirana. He turns to Tirana. Well, there's two of them and two of us. Where do you stand?
Tirana says, she points her phaser back at the doctor, and she says, I'm with the flag officer in this room.
Please, Doc, don't put up a fight. It wouldn't work.
And then at that point, Stanislav goes, yeah, I tried. He drops his phaser.
I'm going to walk over to the dock take his phaser off him. And as I take his phaser off him, I'm just going to lean in close to him and just whisper, "Trust me."
Yeah, I guess I'm gonna stand down too because I only have 2 stress bubbles left, and we're both really messed up.
So Admiral Chitanis picks up a data pad off the floor, and she says, "I can use this right now to transfer all of you to a deep space assignment on a starship, or you can take my offer and join 31."
We've got to look at what's practical at this point, guys.
As the Earthers say, there's no putting this genie back in the bottle.
I trust the Admiral. You need to trust me.
One question then. Did you give this choice to our commander?
No. I offer you this choice because I feel I have an obligation to Lieutenant Chisearch. And to Captain Serensky.
This is the perfect way to just end the session with us, and it's like it's to be continued.
Is that how you guys want to do it? You want to make the decision, or do you want to wait?
I don't know. This is just so tense. It's like, oh gosh.
No, I think we have to end it on a cliffhanger.
Okay, so she offers the pad, and the screen goes black, and in blue lettering it says "to be continued." ...
Yeah. Well then.
Wow. What a season finale.
That was actually tense.
Yeah. I mean, if I wasn't as wounded, I would have fought you, the church.
It was a chance I was willing to take.
Yeah. Well, that's a big chance. So what's like, okay, so is the campaign going to be 31 or what?
Well, we'll have to talk about it. I'm going to stop the broadcast.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying is
so anyone who might have been watching, thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for watching.
Yeah.